Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the channel Bhagavad Gita for All. And today we have session exclusively for the aspirants who are preparing for civil services examinations of UPSC as well as state PCS exam. And today we will talk pertaining to the importance, the essential knowledge that has been in Bhagavad Gita and how the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will help them while preparing for the examination, as well as the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will strengthen, augment their intellect, which eventually help them in boosting a sound personality. And when they go in the service, they will behave with full moral and respect and dignity to the people to whom they interact in the service. So as we know that Bhagavad Gita has been written during the Gupta ages, but it is not from the Gupta ages it has been derived. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is a scripture that is having total 700 verses collected from the longest epic Mahabharata having 1 lakh verse. And the discourse of Bhagavad Gita was given to Arjun by Sri Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And as the war of Mahabharata was spread to 18 days, so the total number of Bhagavad Gita, that is the total number of chapters in Gita, with the 700 verses have been discussed in all the 18 chapters. However, the most important chapter is chapter number 2 and the 18 of the entire Bhagavad Gita. But we cannot ignore the chapter number 1, where Arjun, the context, the main theme of the chapter number 1 of Gita was pertaining to the surrendering of Arjun to Sri Krishna. In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Sri Arjun surrendered to Sri Krishna, and he said that he don't want to fight. If we personify the warfare of Kurukshetra to our mind, then every time there is the war going on between different thoughts in our mind. Whether a child, if we have gone through one of the poem of Shakespeare, the 7 edges or the 7 stages of a life of a human being. In his first stage, Shakespeare talked about a kid who is 3 to 5 years of age and who is unwilling to go to school. Now, when a kid becomes some more, suppose 12 or 15 years of age, then also he sometimes unwilling to go to school. In the college days, he is unwilling to go to college. And again, when he comes to the professional life, he is unable to go to the organization for the purpose of work. If he is not interested, generally it happens that there has been something in our mind which prohibits us from doing something. So what are those things we will discuss? But before that, we would like to tell you how the reading of Bhagavad Gita will help you in UPSC. We have witnessed few examples in very recent time. The behavior of district collector pertaining to one of the marriage ceremony that was going on in one of the state, as well as today in one of the state of Chhattisgarh, the behavior of collector with respect to the person who was moving on the road. So this kinds of behavior is not expected from such a responsible person who is holding such a top position in the district. During this present time when the population is in distress, how we can expect such kinds of behavior? And we are expecting some good behavior from the administration, but if we are experiencing such kinds of difficult situations as well as some non-cooperation from the higher authority, then it is not good for the administration. UPSC has incorporated this ethics paper, that is General Studies paper number 4, that is ethics, aptitude, and integrity. And through this paper, UPSC wants to check the EQ level, that is emotional quotient, how much whether the candidate is up to the mark or not with respect to emotional quotient. Emotional quotient all it deals with the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is all about how we behave, respond to the stakeholder to whom we interact. Now, in our education system, very less emphasis has been given to this emotional intelligence and emotional quotient in the school days as well as in the college education. If we talk about the some of the prominent institutions like Indian Institute of Technologies, NITs, medical institutions, or management colleges, they are selecting students for various programs of bachelor in technology or management, and they evaluate students on the basis of their IQ and not on the basis of emotional quotient. So, if we do survey, we will find that students admitted in these premier institutions would be sound enough with respect to their IQ. But if we evaluate all the students with respect to their EQ, then there would be drastic gap among the students. We may have some students who are both EQ, whose both intelligence quotient and emotional quotient both are of a higher standard, and we may have some student who are good enough with respect to their IQ, but maybe poor with respect to EQ. So, why UPSC has incorporated this ethics paper? We could understand that IAS is going to have a lot of power and a responsible position. So, emotional intelligence and good behavior is expected from those civil servants. That is why UPSC, what I think they have incorporated in the service. But merely qualifying and getting good marks in UPSC and writing good answer in the ethics paper will not work if we go in the practical service. So we must inculcate those good values so that we could behave uh, uh, with the code of conduct that has been uh, prescribed in the Indian Constitution, and we must not we must have some goal and objective for providing the betterment of the society and not the power or the ruling of dictatorship type of rule on the people who are in the respective districts. So if we go through the essence of Bhagavad Gita, it will help in general studies paper number 2 also. That is mainly concerned with the political aspects. In those questions, if someone has gone through the Bhagavad Gita, some of the important verses, and if they incorporate those content in their paper number 2, where they through the answer they can uh, they can it can be seen or visualized that he is tilted towards someone who is poor in the society, then it will helps and it will enable the person in getting good marks. As well as in paper number 4, that is of ethics, if we incorporate some of the content of Bhagavad Gita, then also it will help him in getting good marks. And above all, if someone genuinely and honestly, sincerely follow the good values of Bhagavad Gita, it will help him in boosting his personality, which will eventually help him in getting good marks in interview, and in getting in job he will perform his better and he will get a lot of respect from the people to whom he has been served. Now we will talk about Bhagavad Gita, that is in the year In the year 1785, this Bhagavad Gita was translated by Charles Wilkins, and it revealed the rich ancient culture of India, its heritage, and once it was translated in English, post which this Bhagavad Gita was translated to different European languages like German and French, and it has revealed the Indian culture, the richness of Indian culture. So the essence of Gita could not be ignored. It is so dynamic that it was quite relevant in the ancient period, and today also it cannot be, its importance cannot be undermined. Once one of the Swami from India went to US, and he was having his discourse on Bhagavad Gita. So after the end of the session, he asked his the people who was there to attend his discourse that, do you have any question? So one people from US, he asked that US is already highly developed with respect to India or some other Asian countries. Then why you don't go and give this discourse to each and every Indians so that your country could make progress? So his answer was that those who knowingly or unknowingly follow the essence of Gita, they will be successful with respect to everything. However, this scripture is not meant for gaining these material things, but it has been utilized by the people to fulfill one's desire or objective. We have found that those people who are intellectual, who are having good IQ, if they follow the essence of Gita, their EQ will be elevated, and with the elevation of this emotional quotient, they could be able to make right decision, and it will help in the prosperity of the society and the country and everyone. So now we will be confined to the essential aspects, that is, what are the important uh, the purpose of the session is to inculcate some important verses, the essence of important verses, so that the students could incorporate those content in the answer in order to get good marks. And in the paper 4, that is of ethics, we have some case studies. So if we go through this scripture, it will help him in answering the case study in the more righteous way. In fact, when someone is solving case studies, then the case studies, everyone as per his wisdom and intellect can answer case studies, and no case study answer can be wrong or right. But it the case study answer could be better if someone is having sound knowledge with the scriptures. He could write the answers of higher standard, and which will fetch him good marks in ethics. So today we will end the session here, and in the next Sunday we will talk on talk of the divinity. In fact, once Sri Ramakrishna Paramhans, he said that the goal of human life is to attain, is to have realization of God. And Swami Vivekanand, one of the disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, he said the goal of human life is to manifest the divinity within us. Now, what do we mean by this manifestation of divinity within us? It means we have to exhibit the intrinsic nature that has been given by God in our daily life. Now, how we can exhibit those intrinsic nature? We can exhibit those intrinsic nature only when we know what are those divine qualities. In the chapter number 16, the first 3 verses of Bhagavad Gita, it has defined what are the divine qualities. Now, we will know all the 27 qualities, and we will work upon how to improve or boost those divine qualities so that we could exhibit all the intrinsic nature or intrinsic values in our day-to-day life and make that one a holistic part of our life. Thank you.